Today we're going to be talking about adding to your toolbox by using educational games to engage students in the classroom. At the beginning of the session we played a GimKit, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about what GimKit is. You have seen an example, and then I'll show you how easy it is to create one. So students answer questions on their own device at their own pace. Throughout a kit, each student will get exposure to the questions multiple times to ensure mastery. So this is what it would look like on a phone. On a computer, it looks very similar to Kahoot, but instead of having to look up at the screen at the front of the room, they have the question and the answers on their own device, and it's self-paced, so they don't have to feel rushed, and it kind of differentiates the learning for each student based on their need, so you don't have to worry about timing being an issue. As kids answer questions, students earn in-game cash by getting questions correct. If they get incorrect answers, they will lose money. Then students can reinvest their money by purchasing upgrades or power-ups. With millions of combinations, students can make purchases that suit their strengths. Homeworks. GimKit doesn't just have to be used in class. It can also be assigned as homework. I use this function a lot, and not necessarily as homework, but just as extra practice. I will put a GimKit link in Canvas a week before the test and leave it open until the day of the test, and encourage students to practice and go through the questions on their own. I always tell kids, make sure you're not doing this in other classes unless you have permission, but it just helps with repetition and seeing those questions and terms and things more than once. Students love it, and the assignments are graded automatically for you. You can look at the reports. Sometimes I'll use the reports as participation points for just when we do it in class, so that way students stay engaged in the questions. You can use Kit Collab. With Kit Collab, students create questions for the game. I haven't used this function too much because I like to be kind of in control of the questions being asked, so that way they have the correct answers selected. Students can submit questions and you can accept them. Then the class plays the game and answers the questions that they wrote. There's always new ways to play. It says more than 10 unique game modes. If you have the paid version, I believe there are currently 16 different game modes where you can use the same set of questions. It just presents them to the students generally the same way, but then what they can do with the cash that they earn is different. So there's this one's called The Floor is Lava. Trust No One is kind of like the Among Us game that they like to play, where they have to figure out who the imposter is. And then there's Humans versus Zombies. Right now the kids really like to play, it's like a 2D tag, or there's one for the winter that's Snow Brawl, where they throw virtual snowballs at each other. You can sign up for free, or you can sign up for GimKit Pro, which is about $60 billed yearly. I actually do have GimKit Pro. I think it's worth it. I like having access to all the game options, and I can have more kits. I generally have one per unit, one per chapter, whatever it might be. So I think right now I have over 10, and the free version, I think you can only have like 5, but you can delete them. But I can save mine from year to year, so that way I don't have to remake them. It's easy to build kits, so you can, and the kits are the question banks with pre-existing Quizlet vocabulary cards. You can take questions from their online quiz bank. You can upload questions from spreadsheets, or just create questions right on GimKit. They are generally multiple choice, or just text option, where you can write in text. I'll show you that. And then again, you can assign homework, download reports, track student progress. And if you do have the upgraded, it is 16 game modes. So here's just the list of Marzano instructional framework domains and DQs that would align with GimKit. So before we talk about Blooket, I do want to open up GimKit and kind of show you what that looks like. So here I have an Arlington staff Blooket. If I go in to edit that, I only have 30 questions right now. If I want to add questions to this really easily, or if I'm making one from scratch, so I click edit, I want to create with flashcards, I can import my flashcards. So if I go to my Quizlet, I have a Quizlet set with 72 flashcards in it. So I would just go down to my menu and click export, and then I'm going to copy my text, go back to GimKit, import flashcards, paste that all here, and create. So now, if I go back into that, it added those 72 questions that fast. That's it. That's done. So now I'm at 101 questions that it will shuffle through every time I play this with my students. If I want to, I can also go in, and when I create with my flashcards, I can flip the term and the definition. So instead of just reading the term, then they have the definition and they have to pick. So I always like to do that. It just is more repetition with the same types of things. I've seen teachers use this with math, science. There's all sorts of things you can do this with. If I wanted to add from a question bank, I just click that, and then there's all these questions that can pop up. So these are all my questions, but like if there was something else that I wanted to find, I could just add that question. No problem. So I click all done, and now let's talk about Blooket. So Blooket is very similar to GimKit. You can create it in the same way by using flashcards, just like I showed you. However, with Blooket, they have these little emojis called blooks, and the kids can choose those and change them each time they play a game. So it's Learning Reimagined. Welcome to the world of Blooket, a new take on trivia and review games. The way it works is that the teacher host picks a question set and a unique game mode. Then we generate a code that players can use to join the game on their own devices. After the game starts, players will answer questions to help them win. That's where the fun starts, because we offer a variety of games to keep students engaged and excited. So it is similar to GimKit in that there's several game options you can choose from. It helps motivate students. They're encouraged to participate in the games with rewards for answering questions and exploring new methods of learning. It's effortless in that once you create it, you can continue to use it. They're very easy to create, and if you don't have a unique question set of your own, you can borrow them just like with Kahoot and with GimKit. And it's very easy to copy them and customize them, so you can change the answers. You can pull questions from different sets. So choose a question set, select a game mode, host and join. Play to review and analyze the results. You can also assign Blooket just like you can with GimKit. So sometimes just to kind of mix things up in the classroom, one day we'll do a Blooket, the next day or 2 or 3 days later we'll do a GimKit. Or one thing I like to do on Canvas is I'll put a GimKit link and a Blooket link, so that way students have more choice as to how they want to review at home. Again, you can sign up for free, or you can sign up for Blooket Plus, which is $35, $36 a year. I do have Blooket Plus. Again, it allows for more what they call blooks, so I can save those and use them year after year. I have access to more game options, and I can also have more students in a game. So if I wanted to do a Blooket school-wide during TA and have every kid use the same code and get on, I have the capability to do that. There are some of these codes where they'll allow like 1,000 people in the game at a time. So Blooket will allow that if you have Blooket Plus. Again, it's easy to build using the same kind of things, and that should say Blooket, not GimKit. You can assign, download reports, track student progress. There's 14 game modes if you have Blooket Plus, so not as many as GimKit, but still a lot of options. Here are the Marzano instructional framework domains again. So you'll notice that they are pretty much the exact same as GimKit because it's the same type of idea. So let's take a second to look at Blooket. So I've got my Blooket dashboard up here. These are all my sets that I've created this year, and then some of these are from a few years ago at Blair, like adaptations played 10 months ago, edited 10 months ago, so it tells you exactly how many times they've been played. So like this one has not been played. I can discover and type in anything I want. So I can type in math facts, and this one has over 150,000 plays with 200 questions. So I can just grab that really quick. Sometimes around Christmas, I'll do just holiday trivia. There are all sorts of things on here that you can discover and use and borrow and customize. But when I go into one of these, I can host a Blooket on weather. And I have all my different game modes here that I can select. Some of them I can only assign as homework. Some I can only host the game live in class. Some I can do both, host as homework or host in class. So if I do assign as homework, it will just ask me how long the game stays open, what's the title, the goal. So it says 7 days is about 50 questions. I want students to answer more than 50 questions, so I up the amount of days. And then you just click assign now, and it gives you this link that you copy and paste into Canvas as a URL that the students then can click on, and it will take them to the Blooket game in a new tab. So now we're going to talk about Quizlet.live. A lot of teachers have used Quizlet for years because it's easy digital flashcards and study tools. You can sign up for free. There's this short video here that I have linked that discusses everything that Quizlet can do. I'm not going to play that right now, just to save some time. But I will send this out and you can watch that if you are interested in watching that. What I wanted to spend some time talking about is Quizlet.live. Quizlet.live is a function within Quizlet, so you've already created a vocabulary set. I like to create all my sets myself, so I don't let students create their own vocabulary cards because they might just Google the word and come up with a definition that's way more complex or way longer or uses different terminology than what I would use in the classroom or what they'll be tested over. So I create those myself, but then there's an option within Quizlet where it will automatically group students, and then it's like they race to get all of the vocabulary questions correct. And it kind of sets it up. It looks like this. So like the tigers are winning, they have 11 correct. Then the T-Rexes have 9, lions have 6, and zebras have 6. Another thing I like to do if time allows on review days, especially with Quizlet.live, is I like to try and find like an open gym, or we've gone up to the open hallway in front of the new gym and have the kids do this. They set their computers at one end, they walk away from them, and they literally have relay races where one person runs, answers the question. They have 4 laptops they have to look at, find the question, they answer it, they run back, and then the next person to tag the next person, and then they run back. The kids really like it. It gets them moving around out of their normal activity for the day, and it's been really fun. All of my classes have really liked that. Quizlet, you can sign up for free or for Quizlet Plus, which is about $36. I do have Quizlet Plus because it allows for more customization. I can also put in diagrams and then have labeling where students can practice, like, what's this structure? what's this structure, which works really well for science. And then there's also a test and a learning option that is available through Quizlet Plus. You can build vocabulary sets from other pre-existing Quizlet vocabulary cards by copying the whole set and editing it to make it customized to what you're doing in class. You can assign practice, play Quizlet live in class for instant review of the terms or review questions. I really like Quizlet because students can get in quickly and log in online very quickly, and then if we have like 5 minutes left in class because the lesson went faster than I thought, I open up Quizlet, I just hit start, and it instantly is something to fill those 5 minutes and keep students engaged and not wasting any of that instructional time. Again, here's those Marzano instructional framework points. I did add the using physical movement in here because also it gets kids moving or just around the classroom even if they aren't doing the relays, because I do encourage students to sit with their teammates and work as a group. So let's take a really quick second to look at how you would find Quizlet Live. So if I am in this set I've selected that from one of my classes, I would just click right here and click Quizlet Live. You can assign teams. One thing they added with when COVID kind of started was individuals. So students will individually be racing everyone else in the class. I like to use this. Okay, we'll do 2 individual rounds so they get some practice and exposure with the words, especially if it's day 1 when they've seen them. And then after some practice, then we'll do teams. So that way they're a little bit more confident when they're working together. So that way they don't feel intimidated by working with a team if they're not confident in those words if they've had some practice. So then if you just click individual, you can set up, do you want them to answer with the term or do you want them to have to read through all the vocabulary? I usually have them answer with just the term. And then this is what it looks like. So if they do have their phones, they just scan this and it gets them in, or they just go to Quizlet.live and type in this code and they're able to play Quizlet Live. So then the last thing that I would like to talk about today is quizzes, which I do know there are quite a few teachers in the building who already do use quizzes, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but if you don't use quizzes, you've never heard of it, it can be a good tool in your toolbox. So quickly find or create anything within your curriculum. Just like with GimKit or Blooket, there's an option where you can discover and search and see what has already been created, because it's a lot better to reuse instead of recreate the wheel every single time. You can include and engage every single student by doing student paced or instructor paced. The instructor paced quizzes is very similar to Kahoot. I usually click student paced so that way students answer on their own time and don't feel rushed. You can put timers on each question to still kind of keep students moving quickly, but if you set it for maybe a minute per question, they still see that time clock, but then they don't feel as rushed. It gives you real-time insights and snapshot reports so you can see the overall accuracy of the entire class. You can see how many questions were missed, how many questions were right. I really like that when you do this, it shows you which questions were missed more frequently, so then they'll be yellow or even red based on the percentage of students who got them correct. And those are usually the questions that I focus on after we do this for a review. You can also assign these and put the links in Canvas, which gives students the opportunity to practice your quizzes several times before they take a quiz or a test. So again, it's just the repetition to increase mastery. So there are more questions beyond multiple choice. If you used this several years ago, they only had multiple choice questions. Now they have different types of questions you can add, and especially if you do use the or pay for the upgraded version, there's a wide range of question types. So there's also interactive lessons that you can take advantage of. You can upload Google Slides and kind of use quizzes as another platform to keep students interested in the learning. So the paid version of Quizizz is about $144 a year. It allows for flexible due dates, premium activities, and more question types. Personally, I don't feel that the $144 is worth it, just because I do use GimKit and Quizlet and Blooket more, and the three of those together are still less than what it would be for a yearly subscription to Quizlet or Quizizz Plus. So again, you can create it the same type of way as the GimKit and the Blooket. You can upload questions from spreadsheets or create questions on sorry, that again should say Quizizz. But I haven't found an easy way to upload from Quizlet. I have not figured that out. It says it's available, but I haven't been able to get it to work. It helps review content. You can assign it as homework and download reports. Again, there's self-paced or teacher-paced modes, and then there's the lessons that you can do. Here's that Marzano stuff again. And then let's look at a Quizizz. So when I open up my Quizizz, I can see all of my content in here. I have several from this year. I started a new account when I came to Arlington this year. So I have my 7 created by me. I can explore. Let's say my next topic in Amplify is light waves. So Amplify light waves review. I can go and look at all of these other sets or quizzes that are created by other people about my curriculum, Amplify. If I want to look at something else, so let's say spelling for first graders. I have a 2nd graders spelling list, 5th grade spelling list, spelling first grade. If I want to do math facts, there's some math facts questions. I can check to see if they have the answer correct before I decide I want to add that to my set, or if I want to just take the whole thing, I can just click on it. It brings me to that whole set. I can copy it and then edit it. I can save it into my content. I can turn it into a worksheet if I want to, which is pretty cool. And you can do that all with the free version. You don't need to have the upgraded version in order to take advantage of the worksheets. You can assign classes. The only way to get that to streamline with Canvas is if you have a district or school-wide plan. So if that's something that everyone's interested in, we need to talk to Mr. Fingston or Mrs. Morgan about that option. And if there's any questions that you have about any of these things, I can help as much as I possibly can, but I want you to take the rest of our time to look at these and see if you're already using them. Maybe there's a feature that you didn't know about, or if you haven't used one of these things in your classroom and you're interested in it, open it up, sign up for a free account, and just kind of explore these online opportunities for engaging students with the content. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.